Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode with me, Dan, and the Radiant Racing team. Our graphics once again provided by Matt Amos and Lom1138. As usual, go find their links in the description since I haven't given them a direct shout out for quite some time, but their names have always been there and their links are always in the description. Should you wish to have a look, take them, customize them for your own. We've got 3 races to go, including this one today. We're in the Brazilian Grand Prix in Sao Paulo. The championship really beginning to close up now. Mercedes and Red Bull hunting each other at the top of the field. The 4 drivers for all those teams are doing particularly well. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on the video as well, so that you can see what the outcome of this championship will be as we move on to the starting grid for today's race. And it's another front row lockout for the Mercedes team after a poor start to the season. Bottas taking pole position, followed by Max Verstappen of Radiant Slothz with an incredible 4th position at a circuit that doesn't really suit his car. He's followed by Lando Norris, and he's alongside Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. The other Red Bull of Sergio Perez takes a penalty. He starts P7 alongside Carlos Sainz, and Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly round at the top 10 as per usual. Further down the order we have Esteban Ocon, Alonso's teammate, and Sebastian Vettel in the first Aston Martin, followed by Yuki Tsunoda in the other Alpha Tauri, and the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. Once again, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi are P15 and 16, followed by Daniel Ricciardo with a massive penalty. He's alongside George Russell in the Williams. The other Williams are Nicholas Latifi once again in 19th place alongside Joe Guan Yu, and finally the Hasses of Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Well, 3 races to go. We're in Brazil. And it's 5 red lights, and away we go. Radiant Slothz starting P4. Good start for him, but it's a not great start for Lewis Hamilton there as Radiant Slothz tries to look up the inside of the field going into turn 1. He gets past Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, shoves him down the order. Verstappen goes wide into turn 1, allows Norris and Radiant Slothz to make a break and run after the 2 leaders. Looking a little bit damp out there, as well as the Radiant Racing car goes alongside the McLaren into turn 3. Norris gets ahead. There might have been a little bit of contact down the straight there. Verstappen not going to be hoping for a better result than that. He is currently leading the championship, but his teammate Sergio Perez is not far behind in the standings, followed by the 2 Mercedes drivers, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, as they come round back up the hill again for the 2nd time on this lap. Nobody looking as though they've fallen too far out of position so far. We're looking at Daniel Ricciardo to see if he can make a comeback later on as we go on board. At the start, Radiant Slothz gets a good start on Hamilton, chases the Mercedes down into turn 1, but goes too far to the inside, loses too much time, has to elbow his way past Max Verstappen, and then completely shuts the door on him as they finish turn 1. As we stay on board and we see Lando Norris approach on the inside. Little bit of contact there as he tried to defend, and then he tries to swing it around the outside of the McLaren. It's just not enough as they approach up the hill. Nevertheless, we rejoin on lap 4. Radiant Slothz still chasing down Lando Norris with Verstappen and Perez in pursuit. Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton have broken away by over 3 seconds at this point. That is exactly what they needed for Team Mercedes to catch Red Bull. And given that these 2 are in the way right now, causing mayhem for the championship contest, they will not be happy. Verstappen will be looking to clear these cars as soon as possible, and so will Sergio Perez. Perez, of course, one of the drivers who was once leading the championship, as was Max Verstappen. That might not be lasting too long at this stage. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas bearing down on them in the points as we go on board with Radiant Slothz. Onto lap 5 they go. We've had DRS for a couple of runs now as he goes very deep into turn 1 there, nearly rear ends the McLaren. Somehow the McLaren actually must have made a mistake, or is this much slower through there as Radiant Slothz doesn't actually lose too much time. And he's very close to the back of the McLaren now. He's going to look up the inside into turn 3. It's not going to happen. He is very close though as they go up the hill towards his sweeping right-hander. He's overtaken a lot here in the co-op career, and he has a look round the outside, draws alongside the McLaren, runs a little bit wide, all off onto the curb there, but I think he was passed. though he was not. He had to give the position back there. He was not past the McLaren whilst on the circuit. Over the distance, Lewis Hamilton just snaking his way through. 4.5 seconds at the road now. It looks as though Lando Norris may have an engine issue, unless the Mercedes team have just absolutely outdeveloped everybody else in the final stages of the season, as they draw away quite considerably in the current race. As we get a look back behind Radiant Slothz, Verstappen was looking very racy and quite close to the back of his car actually just now, going into the DRS zone. Come down for the second DRS part of the circuit, with the start, of course, being the start-finish straight being the first one. Look at the timing board. Verstappen is closing in, but it's not enough. Radiant Slothz, though, right under the gearbox of the McLaren once again. He may be looking. He's going to try to say, oh, he gets cut up there, trying to do the same move around the outside. Hopefully, no contact for him. That will really be detrimental. But once again, has to sit behind the Papaya McLaren as they float around, losing another half second to Lewis Hamilton, just under a lap. Mercedes really got off the season on the back foot. I think they were 5th in the standings at one point. Certainly Lewis Hamilton was in the lower reaches of the top 10 when it comes to the Drivers' Championship. But now look at him, he's way up there in the top 5. Radiant Sloth's battling with him at the moment. We're talking of battles. Here we go. Radiant Slothz, he's going to try again. He's looking to the outside of Norris into turn 1. He gets blocked off. He's going to follow closely, though. He's going to get another bout of DRS as they come down. He's very close now. There's no way this is going to go wrong for him. And he's already drawn alongside before the DRS is even open. An easy overtake for the Radiant Racing car as there's contact, grinding the wheel hub of Lando Norris there as they squeeze for position into turn 3. And he's either done some... oh no, he's just hidden behind the leaderboard. Was Lando Norris. Good stuff from Radiant Slothz, apart from the small bit of contact there. Coming down into turn 1, this is the onboard. Norris just not quite as quick into the second part of the corner. Radiant Slothz able to get on the power much easier and just blast away with the DRS. There's the contact you can hear. He does run quite wide into the corner. Probably got caught on the wheel of Lando Norris there as we watched the contact. And yeah, just came across a little too far. Compromised his line. But anyway, in terms of the championship so far, it's confirmed there is regulation changes for next season. The chassis and aerodynamic departments are being affected. Radiant Racing pretty confident that they've covered all of their upgrades for next season. They won't have any issues. Lando Norris into the pits as well. But actually, as the season's gone on, it seems as though Red Bull seem to be dropping off slightly, but hopefully we'll see them come back with the regulation changes. Verstappen goes around the outside of Radiant Slothz, but he gets Max Verstappen off of the track. And talking of off the track, Radiant Slothz are on the artificial grass. Must be running out of rubber. So yeah, come round up the hill. We'll see. Lando Norris is currently on track ahead of Nikita Mazepin, but behind Mick Schumacher, and he is right behind the Haas. So this could be very costly, as we've seen multiple times this season, especially with the likes of Antonio Giovinazzi. As soon as you get stuck behind the back markers after you come into the pits, it's extremely detrimental on these 25% distance races. The drivers just not able to get through the slow-moving traffic, normally on the medium tyres. Radiant Slothz comes in. Back markers on medium tyres, which are worn, versus fresh mediums on much faster front-running cars, does not mix well. And it seems to have caused many drivers to pay the ultimate price in the end. Some even getting severe damage to their cars and not being able to finish in the points. I don't see that happening too much today as we see Lando Norris has just come around turn 2. It's going to be a drag race between Radiant Slothz and Lando Norris as to come down towards turn 3. He does get in front of the McLaren once again. Lando Norris was able to clear Mick Schumacher and likely took that DRS boost there to propel himself forward. Max Verstappen, though, the big loser, he is still behind the Haas, which gives Lando Norris and Radiant Slothz time to break away. As we see more people coming into the pits now. Giovinazzi staying out of trouble this time. It's actually Kimi Raikkonen who's up blocking Lewis Hamilton at the moment as Radiant Slothz cuts the corner. Coming around turn 2, no one coming out of the pits immediately as we go under the diffuser of Radiant Slothz and to see the McLaren really closing up there. And up ahead, Joe Guan Yu, a man that we've not seen too much of this season, battling away with Nicholas Latifi. Potentially, according to the Radiant Racing team, not where he needs to be right now, although they are confident that after he's got this rookie season out the way, they can bring some more upgrades to the car and hopefully develop him a little bit further and see some point scoring finishes, hopefully by next season. If not, well, he may not survive for a third. As Radiant Slothz is all over the back of the Williams now, trying to get past King Latifi. He wasn't able to do it before the run up the hill, but I don't think his teammate's going to cause too many issues here. He follows Nicholas Latifi into the pit lane almost, but appreciates the tow down into turn 1, and it looks as though he has closed the gap to Hamilton by about 5 seconds, I believe, from the time of the pit stops. But just wait, Lando Norris is coming down the outside. He absolutely flies by with the DRS. There's Radiant Slothz going to come back at him. He is very close up under the gearbox. The McLaren weaving all over the place there, trying to defend, as Radiant Slothz cuts across the McLaren, keeps it together this time as they go side by side up the hill, diving into this horseshoe corner, and Radiant Slothz on the better line shoots through, and actually Sergio Perez out of absolutely nowhere has got past his teammate under the pits and has managed to get into 4th place, as Lando Norris's mistake to try and go around the outside has cost him dearly. It's not really helped Radiant Slothz because he does want a McLaren behind him rather than a Red Bull, which is considerably faster. But at least he's still ahead for now. That's all we can take away from this. As far as we can see, Valtteri Bottas, a big winner from the pit stops there. He's actually gained 5 seconds over his teammate and is likely just sealed victory. There's Lewis Hamilton just popping out of sight as we see Sergio Perez going on the aggressive attack, as is Lando Norris. Radiant Slothz has to go very defensive down the DRS straight. Doesn't look as though he's actually able to put any distance between him and the Red Bull. As we rejoin them on lap 14, coming round onto lap 15 now. Ferraris have dropped away slightly. That's not going to be great for their third place constructors battle. Lando Norris doing the legwork. Daniel Ricciardo having an absolute dog of a race as we see Sergio Perez sails past the Radiant Racing car into turn 1. But there's still 4 laps to go. Radiant Slothz, I doubt, will be wanting to let this one go. And DRS is open. Shooting down to turn 1. He's going to look to the outside of Sergio Perez and he's going to sail it round the outside. Somehow they both keep it on the track, and it looks as though the Red Bull, yeah, he has given up the position there. Looks like he slammed on the brakes part way around the corner. For some reason, it didn't look like there was contact, but I'll have to have a look at that in a moment, see what the hell was going on. Talking of which, on board, there goes Perez. Small lock-up there on the Radiant car, actually, going into turn 1. He holds it on a slightly wider line through turn 2, closes up to Perez. Touch on the grass there, but they're still racing fairly. Radiant Slothz amazingly keeps it on the track, and then, Perez over the curb gets spooked by the chance of being spun out by the yellow and green curb. He did take a very tight line into turn 3 there. It just mounts up a little bit too high and just wants to carry the car out wide, but knows Radiant Slothz is there and just decides not to. As we ride on board with one of these helicopter shots. Always a great indication to see how the car's performing. You can see how much the Red Bull's closing up in the braking zone at. And these twisty, slow speed sections. As we see on the board, actually, Radiant Slothz, Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo having a little battle there for 14th place. Ricciardo not looking likely to get into the points by the end of the race. Unfortunate for him, that may cost McLaren the 3rd place in the championship. Lando Norris, though, putting in good work here as they come round. 2 laps to go now. Red Bull of Sergio Perez goes very aggressive around the outside. But who is ahead? Radiant Slothz is alongside him, but Perez has got the inside. Now he's got the now Radiant Slothz has the inside, but DRS goes to Sergio Perez. Touch of overtake going on there to try and give him a boost out of the corner, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Where's Sergio Perez? Not up his inside. You see some jostling behind the train, which is being caused right now by Radiant Slothz. Seems to go all the way back to 10th place with Pierre Gasly. I don't think I saw Lance Stroll in there, so I don't think it goes that far, but any spin from one of these cars will be considerably costly. And I'm sure Lance Stroll would appreciate it if that were to happen. As they come round, just a few more corners to go at the penultimate lap, but Perez looking very strong here. 3 tenths behind. There's no way he's going to be able to defend from this. He's going to have to try and fight back on the final lap. Radiant Slothz powering down. We've got some yellow flags. We'll see what that is in a moment. As Radiant Slothz is powering down to turn 1, Sergio Perez goes up the inside. Oh, he's absolutely sailed past the Radiant racing car. Down into turn 1. Into turn 2 we go. Radiant Slothz will get the DRS, but he's nowhere near as close as he was on the last lap. Lando Norris also looking in there as well. Radiant Slothz looks to the outside, but he's not able to do it. Is he going to look up the inside? Potentially, but he has crashed into the back of Sergio Perez. Lando Norris is loving it. He wants these two to wipe each other out and take 4th place for his own. As Radiant Slothz powers up the hill. Oh, it's Max Verstappen who was DNF'd. I just saw him on the left-hand board. He is gone. As we ride on board with him, this was the end of lap 17. This is disastrous. Max Verstappen, his championship in tatters. 2 races to go. There's no way that this has any kind of recovery. We'll see how this has affected the championship in a moment, but that is a disaster for Red Bull and Max Verstappen as Radiant Slothz chases down Sergio Perez with nothing left in his car. Around the final corner they go and up towards the finish line. Lando Norris was not able to get past in the end. But Max Verstappen, leader of the championship, Red Bull have dominated for so long after taking it back from Valtteri Bottas, is out of the Grand Prix on the final lap. Mercedes celebrate a 1-2 and Red Bull pick up that 3rd place. I don't think Verstappen stands much of a chance in this championship anymore. We'll have to look at the board in a moment and see exactly where everyone is. Bottas celebrating the win. Had a teammate Hamilton. Mercedes picking up yet another 1-2. That seems to be a more frequent thing in the last few races as they've outpaced development over everybody else. And I'm pretty confident that they've got this one in the bag, but we'll have to see. There's still 2 races to go. That's quite a few points on offer. Red Bull have got 1-2s before, and I'm sure they'll be able to do it again. As they celebrate, we'll get onto the final results in just a second. But that was the Brazilian Grand Prix. And what a Grand Prix it was. Valtteri Bottas picks up the win alongside teammate Lewis Hamilton in P2, who got the fastest lap, followed by Sergio Perez. Radiant Slothz picks up P4 ahead of rival Lando Norris in the McLaren. Then we had Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll rounding up the top 10, with Max Verstappen not finishing the race. And here we go with the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen hangs on to first place by the skin of his teeth ahead of teammate Sergio Perez. Just 13 points separate the two. 5 points further back we have Lewis Hamilton in the first Mercedes, and another 5 points behind him, Valtteri Bottas. Radiant Slothz still an outside player in this, but it looks unlikely at this point that he is going to be able to win the championship. He's followed by Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Daniel Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly rounding up the top 10. Further down the order we have Yuki Tsunoda. Fernando Alonso moves ahead of teammate Esteban Ocon for 12th. Then it's Aston Martin duo Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll on 9 points apiece, followed by Kimi Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell on 2 apiece. Then Zhou Guanyu, Nicholas Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. And finally the Constructors. Red Bull still hold first position ahead of rivals Mercedes, but now the gap is just 28 points. Behind them we have Radiant Racing at just 14 points ahead of rivals Mercedes, and 17 points ahead of rivals McLaren. That battle for third really coming down to the wire now. Behind them we have AlphaTauri, of course, and then Alpine, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, Williams and finally Haas. We'll catch you in the next one.